Hello and welcome to my December TBR. As you can see from the title of this video, this book is all about the books that I plan on reading in the month of December. Now, of course, there are some that I have right beside me that I am going to talk about, but before I even get to those, I just wanted to shout out Danielle for this amazing book bingo that she put together once again for us to play along with. There are definitely prompts that some of the books I have beside me are going to fill out, and I'll pop down at this part of the screen which prompts it is I plan on filling out for those. But I did want to shout out Danielle because she put a lot of work into this amazing book bingo, and I had a lot of fun when we played it in October, so I can't wait to do it again in December. That being said, let's get going about the books that I have right beside me to talk about. The first book on my TBR for this month is, of course, our book club book of the month. This is one that I picked up last year in December or beginning of January, just after Christmas, where I had gift cards for Indigo and was using last year's Christmas gifts. And there were 3 copies of this book, so I grabbed it without even looking at the synopsis. Just thinking that it would be a fun, lighthearted Christmas read for Ashley, Danielle, and I to read. I didn't plan on it being our book club book of the month for this December. I just thought it would be a fun read for us to each have a copy of because it's a cute book, in my opinion, just like looking at it. And that is Christmas Nights at the Star and Lantern by Helen Rolfe. This is a book that I didn't even read the synopsis of when I picked it up at the store. I just saw Christmas book, saw exactly 3 of them and went, oh, this is perfect. Ashley, Danielle, and I love reading books together, so here's one that we can read together. Now, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I will say, since picking them up, I have done a little bit more research onto it. Not a lot, because I enjoy going into books without knowing the entire synopses a lot of the time. But this one is a second chance Christmas romance, which is a subgenre or trope that I really enjoy in the romance genre. So I'm looking forward to the second chance romance in this. But if you want to hear more about what this book entails, I'd say check out Ashley and Danielle's TBRs, as they will also tell you what their blind thoughts are going into this book. And if you want to hear our actual thoughts, check out our December wrap-ups at the end of the month when we all discuss our thoughts and feelings on this book, because we will all be reading this book this month. The second group of books that I plan on talking about this month are, of course, because it's December, a bunch of Christmas books. I am not going to give you the huge rundown of all of the Christmas books that I have in front of me, but I do want to try to get to as many of them as I can. Most of them are lighthearted romance reads that should be fun to intersperse throughout the month when I have a moment. As you can tell, there is a nice little stack of Christmas books, so here's a sneak peek of all of them, and let me just pull them out one by one so you see what my Christmas reads are for this year. The first one is actually one that I tried to read last December and decided it wasn't the time for me to read it. Not because it's a bad book, but because I just wasn't in the mood for it. And that is A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simeone. I apologize for butchering that name 4 different ways. This book is about a corn star as she tries to make it big in the regular film industry, and a bad boy singer who is trying to get his life back on track. They're the main leads in this little Hallmark style movie. It's all about them getting to know each other, the film, and how they interact with each other and all of the things. They each have their own secrets, they've got their own struggles, and this is a book about that. Now, when I picked it up, I did not read the synopses at all. So last year when I tried to read it, I was kind of shocked by how like blatant in your face all of the sexual things are. So if that's not a book for you, this is not going to be a book for you. But I think knowing what it contains, I'll be able to give it a more fair shot this year. The next Christmas book that I have in front of me is The Christmas Company by Alys Murray. This is about a small town, I believe, where the main character is trying to save the town from a real life Scrooge-like character. And it's just, I believe it's going to be a bunch of small town vibes, cozy little romance book. It is a Hallmark book, so this will be my first Hallmark book that I've ever read. I am looking forward to it. I love Hallmark movies. They are a staple in my house when it comes to Christmas, and that will probably always be true because I love Hallmark movies so much. So I'm excited to see the Hallmark movie structure brought to you in book form. So that's why I've got this one. I have another Hallmark movie book, and that is A Timeless Christmas by Alexis Stanton. This is an enchanting time-traveling romance, so that'll be a nice little twist to the normal Christmas cozy rom-com. I am looking forward to it. It is also a Hallmark movie, so after I read this book, I plan on picking up the movie or sitting down with the movie is more like it. Sitting down with the movie, a nice cup of tea or hot chocolate or coffee, whatever your hot beverage of choice is, and enjoying the movie to see the difference between the book itself and the movie. Of course, it's a Hallmark movie, I don't want to spoil too much, but I do think it's going to be a cute little read with a time-traveling twist. The next book, I believe Danielle's also planning on reading, so there's a little sneak peek there. I actually forgot that I had this book until literally today when talking to Danielle on the phone. She mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, I have that book. I should probably add it to my TBR. And that is Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. I believe this book is about a Christmas concert. I could be wrong, but I think it's about two singers and their lives, or like one singer and one person who's tangentially related to the music industry. But I don't think that I've read a Tessa Bailey book before, so this will be my first one of that, and I am looking forward to seeing what this book entails. I enjoy a cozy romance book, and with work being so busy the last couple of months, it'll be nice to find time to sit down and just devour like lighthearted, cozy reads, which I can probably bang out in like one sitting or two. A lot of these Christmas books are not very long at all, so I do expect to get at least a couple of them done this month. The last Christmas book that I have in front of me, not the last book, is On Christmas Avenue by Ginny Baird. This is once again a Hallmark movie book, or a Hallmark book, not necessarily a movie this time. This one doesn't say that it's a Hallmark movie the way the other one did, but this is a feel-good small town romance like a lot of the Hallmark movies are, so I'm not going to really explain what this is. If you have watched a Hallmark movie, chances are you've watched something that explains what this book is about. It's gonna be another lighthearted read. It's going to be Christmas themed, and you'd bet I'm going to curl up on the couch with Yzma beside me, possibly Brandon playing some games on the couch, my nice hot beverage, and hopefully an amazing book. Oh, and for those of you who are wondering, This is a peppermint tea, so starting the season off right. The next group of books I'll get into a little bit more than I did the Christmas books, and those are just the physical books that I have on my TBR. These are mostly not related to Christmas at all, because those went in my Christmas section, but these are all books that I'm looking forward to reading. The first one is Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. This is the second book to Things We Never Got Over, so I don't really want to talk about it too much because it is a second book in a trilogy. I will, however, point out how absolutely gorgeous these books are. Danielle got the first one and really enjoyed it, so when I saw them months ago on sale at Chapters, I got the entire trilogy, and I really enjoyed the first one, like more than I thought I was going to, so I am looking forward to reading this one as well. The first one follows the bad Knox brother in his little small town romance. This one follows the good Knox brother in the small town romance. I will say, however, that the bad boy versus good boy brothers, they are a lot closer than you might think based on those descriptions. Yes, they fight, but all siblings fight. The romance in the first book I really enjoyed. If you remember months ago, I talked about Waylay. Waylay was my favorite character. I'm hoping she comes back in this one, but I am certainly looking forward to going back to this world, reading more of it, and if I get through this, I might even try to tackle the third one. But for now, I'm planning on reading this one in this month because there are quite a few books that I hope to get to. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more in this world. I feel like I'm not saying a lot because I'm not. I don't want to give too much away because, again, this is the second book. But I will say the main characters are the good Knox, who is the chief of police in the small town, and the bad boy brother's ex-girlfriend from college. So I think that's going to be interesting. There'll be some interesting dynamics there, challenges to overcome, romance to have. You've got someone who really wants to settle down and someone who really doesn't want to, just based on the synopsis of this book and conversations that took place in the first book. So I'm really looking forward to see where things go in this. The next book that I plan on reading is one that Danielle told me to pick up. In fact, she lent me this copy, and her sister Kayla, shout out to you Kayla, was getting rid of this book, so Danielle grabbed a copy of this for me that I will eventually be picking up from Danielle, but right now I have her copy in front of me, and that is Wayward by Emilia Hart. Now, I want to go into this blind. Danielle told me I was going to love this book, and that is enough for me to want to pick it up. So I'm really sorry if you hope that I would talk about this more. I will talk about it a lot in my December wrap up, but for now I'm going to cut out the screen and you're just going to see the synopses, which I will not be reading. I will just be placing on the screen. Wow, what a great synopsis. What an interesting book. I can't wait to read it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I have read The Sirens by Emilia Hart, also by Danielle's recommendation, and I enjoyed that one. She said that this one was better, so I'm looking forward to reading this one to see if I agree with her or if I have a differing of opinion, because that's part of the greatness of our friendship. Also with Ashley, all three of us have very different personalities and perspectives on books, and I love talking to them about anything that we've read together. The next book that I plan on reading this month is another Danielle recommendation, and that is Tourist Season by Brynne Weaver. This book is about a small seaside town. I believe it is called, and by believe I mean I'm just reading it, so I apologize. Cape Carnage. It's called Cape Carnage. It is a small seaside town that has an unusually high body count and a lot of tourists. So I believe this book has something to do with amateur sleuths and like murder mystery aficionados, and it involves things that impact the Ruinous Love trilogy in ways you might not expect. And the only reason I know that tidbit is because Danielle might have possibly, definitely spoiled something for me about this book in our so far only podcast episode of the Ruinous Love trilogy. So I know a little bit more about this book than I planned on knowing going into it, but I'm still very much so looking forward to reading this. This is Danielle's favorite author of all time. She is Canadian. I ended up getting a signed copy. Of course, I plan on reading this before the year is over. In fact, Danielle has been telling me to read this for literal months. So at least now I'm getting to it, and hopefully I love it just as much as she has. The next book, none of the girls have told me to read, and that is because this is an author that I want them to get into, that I think they'd really enjoy some of her works, if not all of them. I've only read a couple so far, but I plan on getting through her entire catalog, and that is, of course, the one, the only, the absolutely amazing writer of one of my favorite trilogies of all time. Loved it so much that I sobbed my eyes out when I finished reading it, postponed finishing the series for an entire year because I didn't want it to be over. My lovely boyfriend Brandon laughed at me when he saw me crying. Yes, the ending of the book had some sad things, but I was crying because it was over, not because of the contents of the book, although they did also make me sad. I just love her writing so much, and it had such an emotional attachment to these characters that it took me forever to actually finish the book. But yes, I'm reading yet another Susan Dennard book, and that is The Executioners 3. This is a dark YA book. It is mystery, it's murder, it's rival schools, that's a prank war turned more serious. There's actual killers. All of a sudden, bodies start piling up in the forest. It has everything I want. It has everything I need, and I can't wait to read it. It is standalone, I believe, so I don't have to worry about my heart getting ripped out of my chest after like years of having these characters in my life and wanting them to live forever. So I am very much so looking forward to reading another Susan Dennard book this month. And this is the final physical book that I plan on talking about this month, but it is not the final physical book that I plan on reading. Stay tuned to figure out what I mean by that. The next section of books that I want to talk about are the audiobooks that I plan on getting through in the month of December. Now, a large chunk of these, almost every single one that I plan on reading, were recommendations from my sister Vicky. Shout out to you for giving me all of these amazing reads to listen to. The first one is a short story, and that is Poison for Breakfast by Lemony Snicket. If you recognize this name but aren't sure where it's from, it's because he wrote the Series of Unfortunate Events series, which, if you're like me, you grew up on them. This is a short story that is all about Lemony Snicket being fed poison for breakfast, as the title says. I have very briefly started this book already, and it's very quick, so I'm sure either December 1st or December 2nd I'll be done it. But this book promises to start with poison for breakfast and end with death. And I'm excited to see where this book takes me. It seems like an interesting short story. I am very interested in talking to Vicky about it once it's done. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. It is a 2.5, 3 hour read maximum, which means it's probably like 150 pages. So I'll fly through what I haven't already read. The second audiobook that I plan on reading is The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. This is the second book to the Thursday Murder Club. I got Vicky to read the Thursday Murder Club. She loved it so much that she continued on with the series. So based on her recommendation and the fact that she bought the audiobook, I will be reading the second one in the month of December. The Man Who Died Twice is about the same septuagenarians who start the Thursday Murder Club, which is the first book's title, of course. And it's the next case that they find themselves involved in. And by that I mean they weasel their way into it and are amazing. I love this cast of characters. I love the narration of the book. I'm loving everything about this world, even though I've only read one so far. And as my sister knows, because I texted her this, I am a dum-dum. Richard Osman, if you don't know him, he is very big in the British television world. I knew that. I went into the series knowing that he wrote for TV shows and he has appeared on TV and all of the things that are very widely known about Richard Osman. I freaking listened to the interview at the end of the first audiobook, which tells you all about why Richard Osman wrote this series and like what he liked about it and all of these amazing things. I did not put together the Richard Osman who wrote this book that was part of all of these things in British television, and this man right on the screen. I love his appearances. If you have ever heard of the show Taskmaster, loved him on it. If you haven't heard of it, you should check it out. It is one of my favorite shows of all time. I make Brandon watch it with me whenever a new series is out. I freaking love it. You've got this one man who is the Taskmaster, who's giving a bunch of contestants who are mostly comedians, but all like famous people, like different tasks that make them look silly and dumb and make them use their brains. And it's so great. There's challenges, all of these tasks that they have to do. Freaking watched Richard Osman's entire series. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I laughed out loud multiple times. Did not realize that he was the author of this book. I listened to him speak in that interview at the end of the book. Didn't put two and two together until I was scrolling through YouTube Shorts one day and an interview came on and I saw his face. So sometimes when you hear me talk about knowing a lot of things and being able to see the twists and turns when it comes to books, just know that doesn't work for real life. No, I can't put two and two together. I get 6. But yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing on with this series for a man that I enjoy, a series that I enjoy, a world that I enjoy, and a really embarrassing fact about myself. And the final audiobook that I plan on reading this month, I want to use as my commuter book this month, but I do also have the physical copy in front of me, and that is Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. This is the first book in the Witchland series. I have not read this series yet, but it has been on my physical TBR since it first came out. So I have this and the second and third books, I believe, so far in physical format, but I also picked up Truthwitch as an audiobook. I am looking forward to hopefully reading that as my commuter book this month after I have finished the other 2 books, which Vicky so lovingly gave me. This book, gosh, it's been months, it's been years since I've looked it up. In this world, there are many different types of magic. This one follows a character who is a truth witch, where she's able to tell the truths from the lies. I'm not sure much about this book anymore. It's been years since I have looked up the synopsis, but I am looking forward to reading even more of Susan Dennard's works and getting to experience the Witchlands, which is an incredibly popular series that I waited way longer than I probably should have to read. But if it wasn't for this series, I never would have found The Luminaries. And The Luminaries, as I'm sure you're tired of hearing, is one of my favorite trilogies of all time and is one of my favorite worlds of all time. So I'm looking forward to reading more of Susan Dennard. This is probably her biggest series, I'd say, just like hype-wise. So I'm looking forward to seeing what all of the hype is about. And finally, the last group of books that I plan on talking about are the ebooks that I want to get to this month. The first one being Dolls Gone Wild by Allie Brahms. This is the third book in the Ghost Cupid series. I have read the first two books the last 2 months. I read the first one in October, the second one in November. So yes, it totally makes sense that I'm reading the third one in December, but I did not wait to make it make sense. This book doesn't come out until December 5th. If I could have read it already, I would have. I had never picked up an Allie Brahms book before the first one in this series, and now I don't know why that is. I stumbled across this series by chance, and I have fallen absolutely head over heels in love with it. It involves Chinese mythology, it involves demon fighting and talking to the dead and Chinese culture. We've got familial rivalries, we have toxic relationships, we have healthy relationships, we have people who know how to communicate and people who would rather stick themselves in the eye with a hot burning needle than communicate. And basically everything I could ever want from a book, this series has been giving me. So I am definitely looking forward to continuing on with it. I am really loving it, but I don't want to give like anything away in the series because I think that everybody should read it if they enjoy a paranormal fantasy or paranormal romance, like modern day read. I think that this is a series that is really well done. I have been reading them as Kindle Unlimited books and I have enjoyed every second of them so far. The second ebook that I plan on getting to this month is Hot for Slayer by Hazelwood, and that is because I have read basically everything Hazelwood has ever come out with. I have not yet read Mate, but certainly look forward to reading that soon. So of course I have to read the short story Hot for Slayer. It's basically a must at this point. So those are my plans. Those are the books that I absolutely plan on getting to in December. Of course, it wouldn't be a Tricia TBR without a crazy amount of books. And yes, this is a lot of books in my hand that you have not seen yet, because this is the stack of books that I want to read before the end of the year. In fact, this is my 10 before the end. Not a single one of these books have I talked about so far in this video, and that is because I am excited to try to get to these before the end of the year, but talking about these 10 along with those 15 is quite a lot of books to talk about. So I'll give you a quick sneak peek about what the 10 before the end looks like for me, but I'm not going to talk about each of them because it'll just be fun that way. And each one of these books that I end up finishing, I'll release a little short video of this month just to see how many I actually managed to get through. And that's it. That's all you get to see of those. And with that, thank you for spending this time with me. I know that's a crazy amount of books. If I include the 15 I talk about and the 10 that I have briefly shown you at the end of this video, that's a whole 25 books that I plan on reading in December. As you all know by now, I do not follow a TBR very well, so there is a high likelihood that I'll get to like maybe 1 or 2 of these books. Maybe for once I'll get to finish all of them, but you'll have to stick around and find out. But thank you so much for spending this time with me. I look forward to hearing what books you plan on reading in December. If you've read any of the books that I've read already, or like books that I plan on reading, if you want to read any of the same books, if they're completely different, if you like reading Christmas books, if you like watching Christmas movies, if you'd rather just take a step back and pretend Christmas isn't a thing or it doesn't matter to you at all, that's absolutely your prerogative. Either way, I look forward to hearing all about your reading for this month or lack thereof. Some people are going to be too busy this month to get to pick anything else up, and that is totally okay. But until the next one, that is me signing off and all of the crazy bookish thoughts that I have going through my head right now. So have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye!